Okay, well, welcome everybody. Another brief team session this week. Today we're going to talk about the RefWorks application. That is what we have access to through the university for managing your citations, creating bibliographies or reference lists for your manuscripts that you might be submitting. We did another one of these a while back on another service called Zotero, which is a free and open source software application for managing citations and creating bibliographies. And I just wanted to go ahead and do one also for RefWorks because this is what the university actually officially supports. And one of the reasons I hadn't done this before is because I personally had trouble with RefWorks before, but I actually discovered why I was having that issue. So in case anyone else has had trouble with this, hopefully this might answer your question if you had problems with it also. But so we're going to talk about how it's available as a standalone program on the web, or an add-in that you can actually install into Microsoft Word, so you can use it directly within your Word program when you're typing up your manuscripts. There is a browser extension for this available, just like there was for Zotero. So if you're actually searching different databases and finding citations in databases online, you can actually save those directly to your projects. There's a ton of citation styles, more than we could probably ever need, over 6,500 styles. I know we primarily use a handful here, but of course, APA, AMA, and some others that I've seen that we use here are available in there. You can cite directly in your manuscript using the add-in in Microsoft Word. And it's actually kind of a neat thing. You actually turn this function on in the Word program itself. So it'll actually, as you're inserting citations into your manuscript, it will create your reference list or your bibliography as you're going. So by the time you're done, you'll already have like a skeleton reference list or bibliography to work with for like final fine tuning and everything. And something I mentioned before, we looked at Zotero. It's a program. It's really powerful. It's very useful. But as always, you're still going to want to proofread your citations or your bibliographies and make sure they're formatted according to the style that you're using. So that you know it's formatted the way you want it to be formatted. So first off, it's kind of a simple way. If we just Google RefWorks, you'll see this page come up where you can sign in, but this is not actually what we want to sign into. This is the legacy version. And there's a link up here that says looking for the most up-to-date version of RefWorks. You can actually get to this through digging through some menus at the Jerry Falwell library page, but just clicking on this takes you to the sign in for the new ProQuest RefWorks. I'm already signed in, so but it'll take you to a page where you put in your Liberty username and password, and that's how you're going to access the resource. And so you can actually use RefWorks on the web as a standalone program. And you'll notice there's a pretty straightforward toolbar here that you can use. You can use this plus add button to upload if you've downloaded a citation file from PubMed or some other database that you're using, you can actually upload that document here. You can import you can import your citations from Mendeley or an RIS file like you might get from Clinical Key, or you can create a new reference manually. So if I were to create a new reference manually using the online program, you'll see that you'll choose what kind of reference type you're entering. So you'll choose whether you're having probably not going to have artwork, but book section. I know sometimes you might use that for a manuscript, a conference proceeding. So there's different individual styles for each entry that you're going to make. Generic journal articles, obviously one, or a law or statute might be one that you would use. And so you can see how that would change if I were going to enter a law or statute. It's going to want a little bit different information, legislative body, the code, jurisdiction that might have come from. So you can enter these manually. You can create a bibliography. I've already got a bunch in here because I've worked with this already. But you can create a bibliography once you have your citations entered into your project, and you just select them, click on Create Bibliography in your preferred output style. And here's where you can actually choose. It already pulled up Springer Vancouver brackets because this is for a project that I was helping Dr. Pentel with. But there's you see a recent mine, there's institutional styles. You can actually start typing. So if I know I want to use APA, Here's the APA 5th edition, and it's going to automatically format that, and I can copy this and paste it into a Word document. Just a word of caution, while it might be formatted properly here on the program online for APA for these references, if I copy this to the clipboard, okay, so it's copied it, and I pull up a Word document and I right click and paste. Oh, it worked. Okay, well, it doesn't always do this. Just don't be alarmed that if you copy your citation, your bibliography for whatever your manuscript that you've created, sometimes if you paste it into a Word document, you'll lose some of that formatting, so you'll have to go back and fix any formatting changes that might not have been pasted the way you wanted them to be. So that's how you can create a bibliography. We can create projects. We have folders. You can I don't have any folders right now, so I've got 48 just here. But you can use tags if you want to. I've only got 50 citations here, but it might be useful to use tags to index things if you want to be able to find them later. So this is just a basic overview of what on the web looks like. There's a lot you can do here. It's a little bit limited, and a lot of you are probably going to want to be using this directly within a Word program. But before I show you that, I want to show you, if we, on the top of the toolbar here for RefWorks, if you go to Tools, where is it? Here. I can't find it. Well, there's a way you can actually you can save an extension to your browser. I've got so much stuff up here on my toolbar that it's not gonna. Here it is, under my name, under Rob Morissette. If I go to Tools, you'll see this. It says Install Save to RefWorks, and you actually drag this button to your tool. All you do is click on this and drag it to your toolbar, and then when I'm finding citations, if I were to go to if I spell hypertension correctly, it'll probably pull up more. Pulmonary hypertension and vascular disease, and I find this citation. I've actually got all my bookmarks extended over here. There's a button here to save it directly to RefWorks, and you'll see it automatically recognize that it's a journal article. The article title, it tags it automatically. So if I want to go back and search all my citations later, I can look through arteriosclerosis, humans, and hypertension. I've got my authors, my journal title, all this information you're going to want to have, and even grab the abstract. So that's kind of a useful tool that you can install into whatever your browser of choice is. I would suggest probably using Firefox or Chrome, because sometimes Microsoft stuff acts kind of funny. But so that's what that is. Go ahead and save it and add it to my RefWorks file. So that's how you can actually use the Save to RefWorks function directly within your browser. And the way you can use it within Word is if you go to add-ins, let's see here. If you go to open up Microsoft Word on the Insert ribbon under Get Add-ins, well, it says the Office Store not available. I'm not sure why it's not letting me access this, because I've done this before. But you'll actually find the RefWorks add-in in the Microsoft add-in store, and you'll install it, and it'll actually create this ribbon up here. It says RefWorks RCM for RefWorks Citation Manager. And when that shows up there, then there's this button for RefWorks Citation Manager. And when I click on that, it actually opens up RefWorks in a sidebar to my actual Word document. And just like you saw in that RefWorks Online, where all those citations were I created, they're here in my project. So if I'm writing within my manuscript, and I want to cite this, it's going to automatically add my citation for Doyle 1991 for that first citation. When I click cite this, you'll see the style up here is APA for American Psychological Association. You can change your citation style here, just like you could. Let's say we needed to use AMA. Oops, not okay. American Medical Association. 11th edition. You'll see it actually automatically changed the citation style for the citation I just added there. If we go back to the references homepage, there's this function here I was telling you, as you're typing your manuscript, it can slow down your program a little bit, but if you toggle this on, it'll actually create your bibliography as you type. So you see where it automatically grabbed that first citation and added my first reference. So as I type my manuscript, this is to cite that. It's automatically building my bibliography. This is working pretty quickly because this is only a handful of citations, and this is a simple document. But you can see how directly from within Microsoft Word, you can choose your citation style. You can manage your project where you've saved your citations. You can cite your material directly from here. You can create your bibliography directly from the program. So that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. It's very straightforward. You can actually see I also have Zotero here because I was going to briefly mention again, when I first did the team session about Zotero, it was because I was having trouble with RefWorks Citation Manager. And just in case anybody else has run into this, I was not aware that I was previously using the legacy version of Microsoft Office 2016, and that there is technically a difference between the legacy version of Word 2016 and the Office 365 version of Word. And so once I updated to the Office 365, the most current version of Microsoft Word, I was then able to install and correctly and didn't have any trouble accessing the RefWorks Citation Manager. So if you've run into that before, you might want to check. If you've had trouble with RefWorks before, you might want to check to make sure you're using the Office 365 version. There actually is still a way that you can use RefWorks in the older version of Office 2016, but it's something called Write and Cite. And you'll actually see, if I go back to, so like when we see here, if I go to, here it is. So if underneath cite your references and your word processor, so we're using the RefWorks Citation Manager in Office 365, Word 365. If you're still using Office 2016 or Word 2016 legacy version, you can actually download and install another add-in. It's actually called Write and Cite, and it works a little bit differently. And I wasn't going to talk about that today because it's actually not support. It's an older version. I guess technically it's still supported, but they're doing away with this. So that's all I really wanted to show today. Did anybody have any questions? Or
Rob, I do. Will it prevent you from duplicating references in a, say, a long article in which you have 200 references? It's easy to duplicate them. I didn't realize how easy it was until I wrote an article and found them.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'd have to look into it. I'm sure I could find an answer and maybe shoot you an email, give you a call or something to make sure. I would think you'd be able to check for duplications because, like I said, it's keeping track of everything directly here in the sidebar. So if you were to do it, I would think it would give you like an alert that you were duplicating something, but I'm not 100% positive, but I'll find out and let you know.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. It has an option in the web-based browser where you can check your store of references for duplicates.
Right.
And then if you cite while you write, you only have one paper that you're then citing when you input it. So it'll all keep track of your references, and it'll say if it's in a numerical format where you're, that Doyle paper's citation number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. If you keep referring to that one paper, it will just tag it to say number 2, even if you're at the end of your paper.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Charlie?
It sure does. Thanks, Joey.
Okay.
It can be a nightmare otherwise.
And I was wondering also, like you mentioned, you typed in, this is my first reference, this is my second reference.
Right.
So do you have to do that to make sure the thing understands where you're placing it? Or
I was just doing that to show what it would look like as you enter the citation. That's all.
So as you're writing and you say, okay, this is a footnote I'm putting in here, then and you click in the reference thing, then it will make the right numbers
It'll place
And-
and it'll change retroactively if you change your citation.
Okay, so
it
in
used
other words,
AMA.
if you're coming back into the paper, you're editing it and you're saying, oh man, I forgot a really important reference here, and you put that in, then it's going to renumber everything.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And in that bar, there's a specific way, if you want to edit the citation, there's a specific button you would click. That, you know, Rob, if you go up and click, say, number 2 in your reference,
Right.
you click that, it gives you the option there. It says in the middle, add reference to this citation. On the right, you would click
Right.
that, and then you would search for your references, and then you would click update citation once you would have all your references put in place.
Yeah.
It does get a little finicky in Word sometimes if you try to go in and change it. So click the reference and then see how that citation bar changes, and then work within that environment. Don't try to edit anything manually, because it does cause some problems.
Yeah.
Like when I say edit manually, don't go in and try to change the numbers or whatever in your Word document. Work
Right.
within the citation manager
Right.
tab.
And it's funny that I was actually trying to show how if like when you're building bibliographies or reference lists, when I was trying to use this before, and I was trying to help Dr. Menta with something, and I was building it in a particular style on the web where I created a bibliography here, and I chose my style. Wonder if I can do it so I can show you. Springer, Vancouver, where is it? Well, it's not showing it. Anyways, when I created a bibliography here and tried to copy it and paste it into my Word document, some of my formatting was lost. So it's much more convenient to use it directly with it. So that's all I had for today. Thank you guys for. I'm actually really glad you were here, Dr. Gigliotti, because you were kind of able to answer a question that I didn't know the answer to. So
Thank you again, Rob. This is just
Sure.
excellent, really.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
Thanks.
Thanks, Rob.
All right.